Kakadosh Boker Tov, we're going to continue with Daf Kuf Lamed. So this is page 130, Daf 130A1. This is the Mishnah, new chapter. Rabbi Eliezer di Milah. Says the Mishnah, Rabbi Eliezer says, Im lo evi keli me'erev Shabbat. Imagine the Mohel comes and he didn't bring any sakin of Milah, he didn't bring the knife of the Milah on Erev Shabbat to the house where they're doing the Brit Milah. So Mevio b'Shabbat, he's allowed to bring it in the Reshut Rabim on Shabbat itself, Meguleh, in front of everybody. Right? The Gemara is going to explain why. Right? He's allowed to bring it in front of everybody. Uvasakana. Now, if it's misukan to go, if it's dangerous to go on the streets, right, in the Reshut Rabim with the sakin of the Megullah, the sakin of the Brit Milah like this, Mechaseu al pi edim. So he's going to cover it in front of edim, in order that people shouldn't suspect him that he's doing an averah, and he's taking something else in the Reshut Rabim. So therefore, in front of edim, he's coming and he's showing everybody, you know, exactly what he's doing. Okay? Fine. Rabbi Eliezer also, Rabbi Eliezer says, Kortim etzim la'asot pechamim la'asot barzel. So it says here, if a person doesn't have a sakin to do brit milah, Kortim etzim, he's allowed to cut wood on Shabbat in order to make pechamin. Pechamin is like coals, right? To make like the, you know, like my firewood. Okay? So he says, la'asot barzel, in order to make barzel, right, which is basically to make the metal utensil in order to cut, because this is also considered machshirei milah. So according to Shitat Rabbi Eliezer, machshirei milah, which is basically the preparations for the brit milah, also push off the Shabbat. Klal Amar Rabbi Akiva, says Rabbi Akiva, that he's going to argue on Rabbi Eliezer, and he says, no, the general rule is, kol melacha she'efshar la'asota erev Shabbat en dochi et Shabbat. Any melacha which you could have done erev Shabbat, right? You cannot, does not push off the Shabbat. And therefore, if you didn't bring the sakin milah during the day, you're not allowed to bring it in the Reshut Rabim on Shabbat. And kol sheken, you're not allowed to start cutting down wood in order to make like the metal or the iron, whatever it is, in order to make the knife for the Brit Milah. Kol sheken, you're not allowed to do that. But if you couldn't have done it Erev Shabbat, dochet Shabbat, so then it does push off the Shabbat. Okay? Until here we're clear?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Says the Gemara, Ibai lehu. So they're going to ask the following question. Tamad Rabbi Eliezer, the reasoning of Rabbi Eliezer that he permitted you're allowed to take out the sakin in the Reshut Rabim, the knife in the Reshut Rabim when it's revealed. Is it mishum chabuve mitzvah or dilma mishum chashada? Is it because it's so precious, the mitzvah of Brit Milah, that's why you're allowed to come and you're allowed to be mechalel Shabbat. You're doing it purposely in front of everybody. Everyone sees I'm carrying a knife on Shabbat in the public domain. That's the reason why? Or is it because of chashad? Of people are going to suspect you that if you're hiding the knife in your pocket, people are going to be suspecting you of being mechalel Shabbat. But if you're going to do it in front of everybody, everyone knows that you're a mohel, you're doing a brit milah now. So says the Gemara, lemay nafkamina. What do I care? What's the reason behind it? At the end of the day, you're permitted to do it. So he says, lemay nafkamina. Says the Gemara, la tuye mechuse al pi edim, to bring it covered, right, with witnesses during the time of sakana, even without sakana. If you're going to tell me mishum chibuv mitzvah because of that you want to beautify the mitzvah and it's precious to you, megule in mechuselos, you're only allowed to bring it when it's revealed. When it's not revealed, right, you shouldn't bring it even though it's al pi edim. But if you're going to tell me that the entire reason is because of chashad, because of suspicion, so then you could bring it even if it's covered. Because if the entire reasoning was because of suspicion, okay, you could bring it covered, no problem, through edim. So says the Gemara, so what's halacha mai? So Itman, it was stated, Amar Rabbi Levi, says Rabbi Levi, Lo Amar Rabbi Eliezer, Ela lechabu b'mitzvah. Rabbi Eliezer only said it because of lechabu b'mitzvah, to beautify the mitzvah. Tanya Miyachi, we also learned this in a Braita, Mevio meguleh, you bring it, meguleh, revealed. The en mevio mechuseh, but you're not supposed to bring a mechuseh, these are words of Rabbi Eliezer. So the fact that he went and he said the next part, that you don't bring it through, covered, that's a proof that it was lechabu b'mitzvah. Right? Amar Rashi, says of Rashi, another proof. You could even bring a proof from the Mishnah itself. Iktani was we learned in a Braita. Uvishata sakana, during the time of the sakana, although this is the Mshech of the Mishnah. Actually, we said during the time of sakana, you cover it al pi adim. You cover it and you bring it through witnesses. But sakana in lo, sakana lo. Right? Only if there's a sakana. If there's no sakana, don't do this. So there's a proof that it's all because of beautifying the mitzvah. That's the shita of Rabbi Eliezer. Tanya Idach, we learned in another Braita. You're supposed to bring it revealed. You're not supposed to bring it covered. These are words of Eliezer. Says Rabbi Yehuda, the name of Rabbi Eliezer, we have the minhag of bringing it during the time of sakana, right, with edim, with witnesses testifying that that's what you're doing. So we asked, edim de kamar ihu vechad, odim ahu vetrei. When it says edim means him and one other person. That's what it means, edim, because it's two people in total. Or do we say him and another two people? So Tashema, we're going to try to bring a proof. It's good if it's going to be him and two other people, Shapir, then it's going to be two. Then it's going to be good, because it's edim. Okay? If you're going to tell me hu v'chad, why edim? Why does it say edim? It's just one ed, it's one witness, what he's doing. So says the Gemara, no. Which means these two people are fitting to, it has to be that the explanation of Lashon Rabim is because they have to be fitting to testify in another testimony of Dinei Mamonot and Nefashot, and they're not Nogea to one of them. Which means, obviously, you can't testify about yourself. You're Nogea B'davar. You have an interest. So therefore, it has to be in a certain way that you could both testify in another place as well. So obviously, in this case, you can't testify about yourself, so it has to be two other people. Okay? Then we learned in the Mishnah, Rabbi Eliezer said, if you don't have the knife, right? So you cut down wood in order to make a knife, or to, fix the iron to make a knife. We learned in the Braita, in the city of Rabbi Eliezer, which was the city of Lod, they would actually cut wood, and in order to make the fire on Shabbat, in order to make the metal, like the knife, in order to do Brit Milah. Also in the city of Rabbi Eliezer Galilei, in his city they used to eat chicken and milk together, because that was the Shita of Rabbi Yosef. Which means you see from here that if you have a city, that this is a chief rabbi of the city, and this is how you paskins, that's how they do in that city. Because they always go like the rabbi of the city. They're not going to start looking for rabbis all over town, right? Or rabbis all over the place. I remember this actually happened once in a Bet Knesset, where the rabbi ruled a certain thing, and then somebody comes and he says, no, but I asked a big rabbi, everyone's big rabbis. I asked a big rabbi, I don't know what, this and that, and he said ABC. So what happened was, somebody actually told him that. He said, I don't care, it could be the biggest rabbi in the world. That's him, Rav Tzion Levi Alav Shalom was in charge of Panama for many, many years. He was a Charut of Rav Ovadia. But what he said his psak was, Gamanu, there was nothing to talk about. Rav Ovadia could have been 200 times bigger. What's the matter? The rabbi of the city, or the rabbi of the rabbi of the place, he is the place. So even though in the entire world you couldn't eat chicken and milk together, we're talking about together. So you couldn't have a cheeseburger, but you could have a chicken burger. You understand? Together, mamash cooked together and eating it. That was the minhag in the city of Rabbi Yosef Galilei, permitted. That's the minhag of the city. Okay, and the same thing with Rabbi Eliezer. So they used to cut down wood in order to make the knives for the Brit Milah. Okay? Levi Ikla Leve Yosef Rishba. Levi, he was the one that used to limp. So if you remember, there was a big machloket. Why did he limp? Right, but he visited the house of Yosef Rishba. And they brought him a head of a chicken with milk. He didn't eat it. When he came in front of Rebbe, he told him, why didn't you put him in Nidui? Yeah, that he did an Avirah. Levi told Rebbe, it was the city of Yehuda ben Mitira. Okay, so the city of Netzivim. And I said, right, Dilma darash lehu Rabbi Yosef Galilei. Maybe he passed like Rabbi Yosef Galilei, so that's why I didn't put him in Nidui. Meaning, if you went to this place and they gave you milk and chicken, so obviously you yourself, you're not allowed to eat it, because you come from a city which the minhag is to be machmid. You cannot be noheg like them, because you're not staying there, you're not living there. You're just as a visitor. You can't take their leniencies. However, though, he wasn't going to put him in Nidui because he thought this is what they probably paskin, like Rabbi Yosef Galilei. The Tanakh was learned to the Mishnah in Chulin. It says you're not allowed to eat the nevela, you're not allowed to eat the kid with its mother's milk, which means you're not allowed to eat meat and milk. That which is asur because of nevela is asur l'vashel b'chalav, you're not allowed to cook it in milk, right? Which has to be a type of an animal, an animal. He says off, right? I would have thought that a bird also, there's a nevela by a bird, but it also becomes a nevela. So you're not allowed to cook it in milk. Only something that has the mother's milk. chickens don't have milk. There's no such thing. So because of that, that's why he's saying that it doesn't apply basar v'chalav by chicken and milk. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, says Rabbi Yitzchak, there was a city in Eretz Yisrael, Shayosik Rabbi Eliezer, they used to do like Rabbi Eliezer, which was they used to cut down wood on Shabbat in order to fix the knives for the Brit Milah. But they used to die, they never died early, they always used to die at a proper place. And not only that, they made a decree on all of Israel not to do Brit Milah, but on that city, there was no decree. They were allowed to do Brit Milah without any problem. Okay? So again, this is just showing us that if Be'emet, a certain place had a minhag like a rabbi, and it was a justified one, it wasn't just stam, to be lenient, that was the reasoning, it was actually going to be permitted. Okay?
It's like working on Tisha B'Av.
Exactly. Working on Tisha B'Av, the same halacha. It all depends on the minhag. Right, which means if the minhag was again, obviously we're talking about after chatzot, but after chatzot, if the minhag was okay, so then it was okay, not, it all depends on circumstances. Okay, very good. Tanya, we learned in the Braita. Rabbi Shimon says, "Kol mitzvah shekiblu alehem b'simcha." Any mitzvah, listen to this very, very carefully. Any mitzvah, right, that they accepted upon themselves b'simcha. So imagine Yaakov, bruchim ba'im, kuf lamed amud aleph towards the bottom. Right? It says, imagine right now you have a mitzvah that they accepted upon themselves with simcha. Kegon milah. Brit milah, they accepted upon themselves with simcha. It says in the pasuk, Sas anochi el emretecha. I am so happy. Right? Sas al imretecha. What does it mean here, imretecha? Here, imretecha means a brit milah. If you look in the footnote, he says, imretecha is the tzivui that you told us. Imretecha is the lashon yachid. So it's talking about one mitzvah. What was the mitzvah? Mitzvah Brit Milah. Okay, but it says, Vayomer Elokim l'Avraham, V'atad Briti Tishmor. It says in Amirah, Lashon Amirah, and saying, and Novay Daber. So it says, Kemotzeh Shal Rav, like a person that found the whole booty, a big amount of treasure. So he says, the Dainos, not only that, they do it still b'simcha. But anything that they accepted upon themselves only with fighting, meaning that they were like, suffering and they were complaining, they go on like immoral relations, that everyone was crying for their families, they still do the same thing. There's no ketubah, there's no fight about it. That means many times we'll have arguments about the ketubah, how much money are they putting in the ketubah, how much are they doing this and that. That's what they're doing. Tanya, we learned in the Braita. The Bishimon Elazar Omer, Bishimon Elazar says, Kol mitzvah shemasu Yisrael atzman alehem lemita, beshat gezerat hamalchut, kigon averat, avodat kochavim umilah. Any mitzvah that the Yisrael came and they put themselves for mitah, beshat gezerat hamalchut, for example, avodat kochavim umilah, adayin muchzeke biyadam, it's still muchzeke biyadam. B'chol mitzvah shelo masu Yisrael atzman lemita, and any mitzvah that the Bnei Yisrael did not put themselves on mitah, beshat gezerat hamalchut, for example, tefillin, it's still going to be merupa biyadam. So you see here that anything that the mamash, they gave up their lives for it, right? During the time of Gezerat HaMalchut, for example, avodah zarah or milah, they still have it. But anything, for example, let's say tefillin, it's very weak. Not everyone does tefillin. Not everyone puts on tefillin. Why? Because they didn't give up their lives for it during the times of the Gezerat HaMalchut. Tefillin, right? The Gemara is going to explain. The Amar Rabbi Yanai, because Rabbi Yanai comes and he says, Tefillin tzichin guf naki kelisha bal knafayim. Tefillin needs a body which is clean, just like Elisha bal knafayim. You remember that Elisha bal knafayim was the one that he always put on tefillin, and even though the Romans made a decree that they're not allowed to have it, and then they caught him, they started running after him. He took it off, put it in his hand, and he said, "What do you have in your hands?" He said, "An eagle, not an eagle, pigeons." He said, "What happened?" And then it was an eagle's, and that's why we wrapped the tefillin. Right? I think. Jean-Paul, you were the one that said in the footnote that they wrapped the tefillin in a certain way that they look like the wings.
Yes.
Right? He said, why? Because that was like the knafayim. So he says over here, right? That means basically that he says from the fact that Rabbi Yanai used to teach that you have to be very makpid, that the body has to be clean during the time of anachat tefillin, just like Elisha did. So you have to learn, right, that they were, that many people, they didn't care about it. They weren't, because he was telling, no, you have to be careful with your tefillin. So much other people weren't careful. Maihi, what are we talking about? Abaye says you have to be careful that you don't pass gas in them. Rav says you have to be careful that you're not going to sleep in them. So says the Gemara, why did they call him Elisha bal knafayim? I thought that we learned this Gemara already. This is where it is. Okay. I guess I thought that we already learned this. Or maybe we just brought down this Gemara, but here it is. The Gemara says, why is he called Elisha B'Knafayim? Because they once decreed Malchut al-Romi, the Romans, Gezerah al-Yisrael, Shekol Maniach Tefillin on Rosh, anybody that puts tefillin on his head, Yikruad Mochol, they're going to come and break his brain out. They're going to pull out his brain. Okay, but that's why they put the tefillin. So Elisha put on tefillin and went out in the marketplace. So one of these officials, a Roman official, saw him, right? So he ran away. So he started running after him. But he caught him. So Netalan, he took it off and he put them in his hand. Amale, what do you have in your hand? Amalo, he told him, Kanfeyona, eagle's wing. Again, I keep on saying eagles. Pigeon's wings. So he says, Pashati Dudov and Imtsabo. He opened up his hand, and that's what they found. So he says, Lefichach, therefore you korino to Bal Knafayim. That's what he used to call him, Bal Knafayim, one of the wings, right? Why is it called Kamfeyuna? Why dafka of the pigeons, right? So he says, Damale, Velo Amale. Why didn't he say any other bird? Because Bnei Israel, Knesset Yisrael, are compared to the pigeon. It's just like by Yonah, it actually comes and it protects its bodies. Right? That means basically it starts hitting the other birds with its wings, right? And not like the other birds. The other birds, they use it with their noses. That they come and they start, their beaks. So they come. So he says, so to Yisrael, the mitzvot, they protect us, and that's why it's compared to the Bal Knafayim. Amar Rabbi Abba bar Rav Ada says Rabbi Abba bar Ada. He said in Yitzchak, once it happened, Shachub lo Erev Shabbat, that they forgot to bring the Sakina Milah from Erev Shabbat. So they brought it through the rooftops and through the different courtyards in order to actually bring it. Okay? Kuflamed Amud Bet, Shelo B'Ritzon Rabbi Eliezer, not like Rabbi Eliezer, obviously. So according to Rabbi Eliezer, you could bring it in the public domain. Matki Rabbi Eliezer came and he asked, Shelo B'Ritzon Rabbi Eliezer, what do you mean? Adarab, but the opposite. Rabbi Eliezer was one that permitted them to do it, to be Mechalel Shabbat. So then what does that mean? If you're going to tell me Rabbi Eliezer permitted even the Shut Rabim. And that's what it means that it wasn't in the position of Rabbi Eliezer. Ela B'Ritzon Rabbanan, but it was a B'Ritzon Rabbanan, which was a Bekiva. Okay, that he argues on Rabbi Eliezer. And then he only permitted it. So that's why. It says the Gemara, no, Umishari is permitted even to bring it in a courtyard or in the rooftops. Atanya, we learned in the right, just like you can't bring it through the Reshut Rabim. You're not allowed to bring it not derech got karpifot or chatzerot, which is basically through the rooftops, karpifot to the chatzerot or different courtyards or things like that. You're not allowed to bring it. So it comes out that it was not b'ritzon chachamim. So what does it mean that it's not shelo b'ritzon Rabbi Eliezer? It's shelo b'ritzon chachamim, not shelo b'ritzon Rabbi Eliezer. And Ravashi, but rather Ravashi answers shelo b'ritzon Rabbi Eliezer u'machlokato. It's not like Rabbi Eliezer, right? Or the one that argues on Rabbi Eliezer, which was Rabbi Kiva. Ela b'ritzon Rabbi Shimon. It was like Rabbi Shimon. What does that mean? We only learned in the Mishnah two opinions. Rabbi Eliezer permitting the knife to go even in the Reshut Rabim. Rabbi Kiva prohibiting it even in the courtyards to take it. All of a sudden, they didn't do that. They brought it through the courtyard, so it's not like Rabbi Eliezer, because he obviously permitted it even there in the Reshut Rabim, public domain. So Rabbi Kiva. Rather, it was like Rabbi Shimon. Why? According to Rabbi Shimon, you're allowed to. The time we learned to the Mishnah in Eruvin Petet Amud Aleph, Rabbi Shimon Omer Echag Chatzirot. According to him, it's all one Reshut, which means that it's all one Reshut with the houses which are there, right? Because since it says over here, right? It says the Chatzirot, the courtyards and the roofs and everything that are part of the different, that they belong to different owners, because it's like an apartment building. There are different owners that own the roof. It's not just one person owning the roof, right? So, and you don't always use it. So it's all one reshut, and you're allowed to carry within without a roof. A kelim sheshavtu b'tuchan, to any utensil that was inside of it. Velo lekelim, but not to utensil sheshavtu b'tuch bayit, that was inside of the house. Meaning, if it's inside of the house is a private domain. The courtyard, the common areas, that's a public domain. So that's why you're allowed to come and use it around. So it said Rabbi Zera, he asked from Rabbi Yassi, Mavui shalon ishtatvu bo. What about a mavui, right, which is again one of these paths, right, like a side street that they didn't make shituf, they didn't make any common grounds together. Can you come and mitaltel inside of it? So chatzer avagav delo ervu מותר לטלטל בקולו, that you're allowed to be מטלטל. האילם, so to here, even though they weren't משתתף, מותר לטלטל בקולו, you're allowed to be מטלטל in it. או דימה, do we say, לא תמיד לחצר, it's not like a חצר. The חצר היא לארבע מחיצות, because the חצר is completely enclosed. Here, it's not enclosed. It's not enclosed on four sides. So Yinami, you could say, Chatzer, Ileduyurim, people live in the Chatzer. Hi, but here, the Mavui, nobody lives in a Mavui. The Mavui is like the side street that leads into a Chatzer. And then in the Chatzer, you have different houses, right? But not like this, okay? So he says, Shati, he kept quiet, he didn't answer. He didn't answer. Fine. Once he found, he saw him, that he said, says the name of Yehuda Nasi. They once forgot to bring the knife on Erev Shabbat. They brought it on Shabbat. So the Chachamim, they weren't happy with this. How do they leave the words of Chachamim? They do like Eliezer. Number one, Eliezer was put into Nidui because of the Tanur of Achnai, so Eliezer was put into Nidui. So therefore, we don't pass like Rabbi Eliezer. Well, then furthermore, Yechiv Rabim, Lachak Rabim. The Lachak is always like the public, not like the Rabim. And the fact that we brought down the opinion of Rabbi Akiva afterwards like Chachamim means that they pass like him. Amar Rav Oshia says Rav Oshia, Shelit, I asked of Yehuda HaGozer, the Mohel. Interesting, he's called the Gozer. The Gozer is the cut. So they asked of Yehuda HaGozer. Amalini told him, no. It was a shituf. They didn't do shituf mavot. And what happened was they brought it from one mavui to another mavui. From one part of the mavui to another part of the mavui. Okay, so it comes out that they did do like chachamim. Because you are allowed to be metaltel in the mavui, even if they didn't nishtatef ba. So Amalei, so he told them, it's really more mavushan metaltel bekulo. Amalei Ini says, yes, that's halakha. You're allowed to be metaltel in the entire mavui, in the entire area. So Amalei, so he comes and he says, I once asked you and you didn't tell me anything. Dilma agav shitfach Allah marach. Says what? Because you were running or whatever it is, right? You remembered what happened? Because sometimes it happens. You start learning something and all of a sudden you start remembering. You say, one second, you know what? You start saying something over and you say, no, you know what? I remember that. It's true. Why? Because at the time, if I remind you of something or I ask you something, sometimes you don't remember. But all of a sudden, once you mention one detail and another person mentions another detail, then you start remembering, you know what, 1 second. It's true. I do remember what's going on. You understand? Like I remembered it. You asked me last time, I didn't remember. But now we start learning it, and one thing, another thing, you know what? It's true. This is the way it is. Okay? Amalei, he said, yes. Right? He says, because of running, right? That's how I remembered it. Which means that sometimes when you do chazarah, where you speak things out, that's why it's so important to speak things out. Sometimes when you speak things out, that's when you remember different things. Okay? Itmar was stated. Amar Bizera Amar Rav. Says the Bizera in the name of Rav. Mavui shelon ishtatfa bo. When you have a mavui that they didn't do shituf mavot in it, right? That means they didn't connect the mavot together. There are these common areas together. Emet al talim bo arba'amot. You could only carry within it arba'amot. Amar Abaye says, Haimilta Amar Bizera. This Bizera said, Velo Pitshai didn't explain it. Adata Rabba Baravua Pitshai. Rabba came and he explained it. The Amar of Nachman Amar Rabba Baravua Amar Rav says Nachman Baravua in the name of Rav. Mavui shel nishatfu bo. When you have a mavui that they didn't come and they didn't put everything together, shituf mevot, which means like to make it like one common grounds, right? Eruv chatzerot im batim. So if they did do eruv chatzerot, em metaltlim bo ela bar mamot. They could only carry within it 4 amot. Lo if they didn't do eruv chatzerot, mutal letaltel bekulo. You're allowed to do tiltul in the entire mavui. So it all depends if they do eruv chatzerot or not. Remember, eruv chatzerot is within the same chatzer. Shituvei mevot is in the same mavui. It's 2 different halachot in order to carry within them. So Amar Rav Chanina Choza Rabba says Rav Chanina from Choza from Rabba. So he comes and he says, what's the difference if they were me'arev the chatzerot with the batim? They nitku chatzerot v'nasu batim. That through the eruv they come and they were minatek the chatzerot and they made the batim, which means nekar from the chatzer, right? And it's going to be batel, and they were allowed to do it. The Rav, the Rav, according to his reasoning, right? According to Rav, you're not going to permit carrying inside of a mavui with one lechi v'korah. Remember, the lechi was on the side, like a side post, and the korah is a beam on the top, like the tzurat petach on the top. Okay? So he says it's not going to be permitted. Until you're going to have batim v'chatzerot, which is basically the houses and the chatzerot, petuchin letocho, which are going to be open inside of it. And here, batim mika, there's going to be a house, but chatzerot leka, there's not going to be any type of a chatzer. Okay, so we're going to stop over here, and Bezrat Hashem, we continue tomorrow.
חזק וברוך.